So hi, hello and welcome, and in today's video I'd like to talk about the five kingdoms of life, and here they are: plants, fungi, animals, protozoans or protosistens, and also prokaryotes. And I'm going to start off this video with a little puzzle here. Look at this. It's kind of wiggly, and I'm asking you, what is this? I mean, is this a plant? Are these animals, plants, fungi, protozoans, and prokaryotes? What are they? Yeah, look here, a little bit larger. They're evidently they're moving around, and I'll give you a little hint. They're known as spirilla. This doesn't help you a lot, does it? What are spirilla? Spirilla plants, animals, prokaryotes. Well, as a matter of fact, these are bacteria. These are spiral-shaped bacteria, and they belong to the prokaryotes. Yeah, so you see that we've already covered one of those four kingdoms here. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through those, and I'm going to show you a couple of more examples under the microscope as well. And then we're also going to start constructing an identification tree. But before we do that, let's start off here. These are our prokaryotes, the bacteria, and of course they belong here. And if you look into the bacteria itself, these are individual cells, you're going to see actually they appear to be empty. There are no structures inside. As a matter of fact, the prokaryotes are very small, and they do not have any cell organelles. So this means inside the cell, you're not going to see anything under the microscope. In contrast, those over here, these are protozoans or protosistens. They are also single-celled, so you also need a microscope to see them. But you see that I've included some dots and circles in the cell here. These are cell organelles, and indeed, you can also see them over here. So that's a nucleus, for example, and that goes over here. So we've covered the two more difficult ones over here, and there are three of them that are left over. Obviously this koala bear is an animal, and it's kind of obvious. This is supposed to be a mushroom. Mushrooms are the fruiting bodies of a fungus, and it goes over here to the fungi. And last but not least, of course, we've got a tree here, and this tree over here, that belongs to the plants. I mean, many people in the past confused fungi and plants a little bit, because are fungi the same as plants? Well, they're not. And we're going to see that why they're actually sorted into different kingdoms. Because plants and fungi, they basically are quite different in many respects. So what I would like to do now is I'd like to now show you an identification tree and how we're going to approach this, a little bit more systematically. So I have prepared something over here. Look what I got here. This is known as an identification tree, or a so-called dichotomous tree. And our job now, here it is. Our job now is to make sure that we're able to put the correct sequence, not sequence, but the correct kingdom, down here. So this one, for example, is a fungus. Where does it belong? Okay, and that's something that we're going to solve. And as a matter of fact, you can see. I'm going to move this a little bit further up here, maybe. You can see that, in this tree, there's always a branch going yes, no, and then over here, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, all the way down here. And at every branching point, we're going to ask a question. So we're going to ask 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. And each question can be answered with either a yes or no. And then depending on what the answer is, we're going either left or right. Okay. And our job now is to kind of allocate those 5 kingdoms down here. So I don't know where does it belong, and we're going to find out. Okay, so let me put them again to the side here, so that we can take them one by one, and that we can place them into the correct position of that identification tree. This one, by the way, the top part here is known as the root of the tree, and we're going to start over here. And the first question that we're going to ask is do the cells have a nucleus or not? Okay, this is the first question that we're going to ask. And if yes, then we go over here to the left, and if no, then to the right. And cells that do not have a nucleus, one of them does not have a nucleus. Well, I already told you over here that this one here, they have a nucleus. As a matter of fact, fungi, animals, plants, they all also have a nucleus, but the prokaryotes, to which the bacteria belong, they do not have a nucleus inside the cell. So essentially this one goes over here. And basically, I'm going to show you again the prokaryotes over here that we've just seen before. These are actually very simple cells. They're still complex, but they're much simpler than the other cells and also much smaller. If you look into them, you're not going to see any cell organelles. Yeah, I'm going to also show you right now how a nucleus actually looks like. I'm going to do that, but in order to do that, I need to switch on my microscope on the side here. And okay. And I'm going to now, I've got here a nice slide here. What does it say here? Yeah, these are onion root cells that I'd like to show you, because it's possible to see the nucleus of these cells, okay? And in order to do that, I'm going to switch over to my microscope view. I'm going to turn on the light. Here we go. But unfortunately, it is a little bit out of focus. I have to find it. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. I'm just going to explain in a second. And I can already see the different nuclei. It's a little bit blurry. So here it is. Yeah. This is the tip of an onion root. Okay. And I'm going to go up with the magnification a little bit further. I'm going to turn up the light. Yeah. And are you able to see those dark purple round oval structures? Yeah. That's the nucleus. They're the nuclei of the cells. Yeah. Yeah, so this is now 400 times. I'm going to always have to go up with the light intensity a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I need to focus. Okay, here we go. Okay, so all of those dark purple round dots, these are the nuclei. And if you look very carefully, you can see that around each nucleus there is, it looks like they're in a little box. And these are the individual cells. Here it's much better. You can see that each one of those nuclei each nucleus is in a round box, and the box, that is a cell, and that's, as a matter of fact, it's the cell wall. Yeah? And prokaryotes do not have those nuclei. Okay, they're very uniform inside the cell, and therefore, it's an important distinguishing criterion. But now let's go back again here. Again to the dichotomous tree, and prokaryotes don't have one, and the one that I showed you is a plant. So the onion root tips, of course, plants, and that means that plants have to be obviously here somewhere on the left side, because as I just showed you, the plant cells do have a nucleus. So, okay, they have a nucleus, yes. So where are we here right now? The next question is the following. Is the organism single-celled? Yes or no? Is it made of one cell? Well, as a matter of fact, I already mentioned that animals are made of many cells, fungi, many cells, plants. Yeah, but did I not already tell you that the protozoa, the protosistens, that they are made of single-celled cells? They're too small to be seen, okay? So, yes, it's single-celled, so it goes over here. And because this is a drawing, and because you probably would like to see an amoeba in motion, I've even prepared a little video here to see how this actually looks like in real life. Now, if I increase the speed a little bit, look, that's an amoeba. Look how it's moving around, yeah? And trying to catch food. It's quite a bit faster than in real life, but if you look carefully into the amoeba, then you're again going to see those round circular structures. Yeah, and one of them must be the nucleus, and then there are also other cell organelles. And the dots that you see floating around in the background, those dots are probably also bacteria, prokaryotes, and the amoeba is trying to catch those. Yeah, again, a little bit larger here. Yeah. Again, I need to say that this one is quite a bit faster than in real life. The reason being, otherwise you're not able to see the movement quite well. And that's the reason why it looks a little bit erratic. Yeah, because as I've been observing it and moving it around this slide, I've been chasing it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, but that is basically an example of a protozoan or protosystem. And I'm going to show you another one that you've already seen in one of my previous videos. Another one here, and that is, do you know what it is? Yeah, it's Perimysium. It's a ciliate. It's also made of one cell. Yeah, now there are 2 or 3 of them here. Yeah, and again, look into the cell, into one of those, and you're going to see that there are again those round little structures in there. Yeah, and one of them must be the nucleus, but there are also food vacuoles in there, and vesicles, and many other cell organelles, mitochondria. I'm going to explain all of this in a different video. And there are tiny little hair on the surface of this Perimysium, and they beat. And as a consequence, look how the water is moving around in a circle. And the little dots that you see in the water surrounding it, well, these are also bacteria. And this Perimysium right now is feeding on them. It's kind of sucking them in and using them as a food source. Yeah? Again, very nice, I think, to see that. And you can also see that they're kind of swimming back and forth and responding. When they bump into something, then they reverse the direction. Yeah. But that is essentially a kingdom that you might not have been aware so much. And that's the reason why I'm showing you these videos here, because all of you have already seen plants and animals and fungi, mushrooms, yeah. But not so many of you might be aware of the protozoans or protosistens. Both words are fine. And also prokaryotes, yeah, bacteria. They're also separate kingdoms. And here I like this video also because the little dots that float around in a circle, those are bacteria, and you can actually see the size difference. Yeah? So those protozoans are much larger than the prokaryotes, the bacteria around them. Yeah. So yeah, let me go back again to the to show you my desktop view. Okay, so basically I showed you now Perimysium and Amoeba over here. And if the organism single-celled, no. Okay, so the remaining three are multicellular organisms. So the fungi and the animals and the plants, of course, are made of many cells. After all, we are able to see plants and animals, yeah, without any problems. And the next question that we're going to ask is the following: is it an autotroph? And I think I need to explain this term a little bit. Autotroph means self-feeder. Okay, an autotroph is a self-feeder, and these organisms that are able to do that, they are able to make their own food. And yeah, which one of them, animals, fungi, or plants, which one of them are able to make their own food? Well, on the plants, because the plants, what they do is they do photosynthesis. And in photosynthesis, plants use the sun's energy and carbon dioxide from the air and water to make glucose. And glucose is sugar, and that is the food that the plants use. And an autotroph is able to make its own food, and therefore we put the plants over here. So, and then now there are only two left over here, fungi and animals. Okay, fungi and animals are not autotrophs. You're over here. And if you're not an autotroph, then you're a heterotroph. And a heterotroph means other feeder. So we have to feed on other things. Well, of course, humans, for example, we are also animals. We belong to the kingdom of the animals. And therefore, we have to, of course, eat food as an energy source. And what do the fungi do? Well, fungi are also not able to make their own food. Fungi, that's why here, for example, it's growing on a tree. They're feeding on the tree. Yeah, so they're breaking down other material and decomposing it. Yeah, so basically both of them go here, but I don't know which direction. So we have to ask the next question. Do the cells have a cell wall? That is the question, okay? And as a matter of fact, the fungi, they do have a cell wall. And the animals, we do not have a cell wall. Okay, so that is an important difference as well. Now you got to be careful. Plants also have a cell wall. Okay, I just showed you in the video of the onion root tip. I told you that those nuclei, they are in these little boxes, and those boxes are the cells and surrounded by a cell wall. Now plants also have, of course, cell walls, but the material of the cell wall is very different from the fungi. But you see, we're asking the question about the cell wall over here, so we're not in the we're not here on the left side with the plants. Yeah, we've already made the decision, and that's why we're asking again a question, yes, no, which only relates to fungi and animals. Yeah? So just because fungi have a cell wall and animals don't, it does not tell us anything about the other things here. Okay, like the prokaryotes, the plants, and the protocysta. Yeah? So you know why this is not nice? Because if you have a dichotomous tree arranged like this, then you're able to know already quite a lot. So for example, if I give you a fungus, then you know that it must have a cell wall. Okay? And you know that it is not an autotroph, it's a heterotroph. You know that it is multicellular, it's made of many cells, and you know that it has a nucleus. So you see that this is very useful, because if you know this, then essentially you know a lot of the characteristics of the different kingdoms here as well. Okay. Now, such identification trees can be quite useful, because they allow you then to identify certain organisms. And look what I got here. Look at this. Yeah, this here is a starfish, of course. And the question is now, What is a starfish? Is a starfish a plant or a fungus, an animal, prokaryote or a protozoan? Where does the starfish belong to? Well, it's quite easy because those two categories, the protozoans and the prokaryotes, we can exclude them right away because they are too small to be seen. In a starfish, I can see a starfish without problems, so I know it must be a multicellular organism. The question now is which one, a plant, fungus, or an animal? Well, I can tell you right away that a starfish is an animal, so it belongs here. And when I know that it's an animal, then I already know that it does not have cell walls, okay? It is not an autotroph, so this means it's a heterotroph, so it needs to eat food. It's not able to make its own food. It is not single-celled, that's what I just told you. And I know also that the cells must have a nucleus, okay? I don't even have to put it under the microscope. I already know that because animals, all animals, their cells have a nucleus. Yeah? So you see, it's very useful because once you know what it is, you know many other characteristics at the same time without having to check it. Okay, so that is the starfish. I'm going to show you something else over here. Haha, look, also quite nice. Let's put it here. Look at this. What is this? Maybe some of you also have this already at home. Maybe some of you are collecting this. This here is known as an Ammonite, and this one over here is a trilobite or trilobite. They're extinct. They're extinct animals, and I got those here from a souvenir shop and as presents. Sometimes you can buy them somewhere, they're petrified. So this means they are now rock, and sometimes you can find them in rock formation, and people then sell them as a souvenir. And these are both animals, and even though they do not live anymore, I know that because they're animals, they belong into this category down here, okay, to the animals. I know, again, that they have many characteristics that is similar to the starfish. Yeah. Both of them are multicellular animals. They have a nucleus, they're heterotrophs, they do not have a cell wall. So even though they look so different, they share many characteristics with the starfish. Yeah, I've got some more specimens over here. And this one is also a beautiful example. It's a very old one. Look at this. Yeah, a butterfly. Okay. Butterflies are, of course, insects. Yeah, so they're animals. So you see that this butterfly over here and this starfish over here, yeah, they belong to the same kingdom, the kingdom animals, and they share several characteristics. They have many things, or not many things, but they have several things in common. Yeah? Both starfish and the butterfly, they need to feed on something. They're heterotrophs. They're not able to do photosynthesis, for example. They're multicellular. The cells contain a nucleus, and so on. All of the things that are already mentioned. Yeah? And, of course, some mollusks. And this is also beautiful over here. Yeah. Look, it is only now the empty shell. Yeah? These are so-called mollusks, seashells. Yeah, and this is a huge one. Look at this. Yeah, what is that? The fungus, an animal, a plant. Yeah, well, it's only the shell that's left over. Well, it's of course also an animal. Yeah, so same as before. Those seashells and the butterfly, they share also many things in common because they're both animals. Yeah? And last but not least, and now I'm going to do the following. Now I have to put the paper away because otherwise it's going to get it's going to become too wet. Let's carefully move it to the side. I have something over here. Look, what is this here? I need I'm going to take some tissue paper. Not only because of the water, but also because you can have a better contrast. Look, what in the world is that? It's moss. Yeah? I collected it a few weeks ago in a forest. I found a rock with a lot of moss growing on it, and I collected it and then added some water at home, and it started to grow again. Yeah, and here we are. And the question now is what kingdom does moss belong to? Well, clear, it's a plant. Yeah. So it's able to do photosynthesis, it's able to make its own food. And you're going to say, well, what about starfish and moss? Do they share certain similarities? Yeah, of course. Their cells both have a nucleus, the multicellular. they do not feed the same way. Starfish has to eat organic food by hunting for it, or scavenging the ocean floor. And a moss, being a plant, is able to make its own food using sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. So you see again, it shares some similarities, but not so many. Sometimes there are differences now. And of course, I also wanted to show you a little bit this here. So it's another plant. It's a water plant. And same story here. It needs sunlight and is therefore able, let's refocus the camera a little bit, is able to make its own food this way. Carbon dioxide, in this case the carbon dioxide is in the water, it goes from the air into the water, and it starts to grow like this. But again, there are many characteristics that are the same to the ammonite or the starfish. It's not that they're both living in water. It's really that both of them are multicellular, their cells have a nucleus, and so on and so on. You get the idea. So that is basically all I wanted to show you today. So when looking at nature, and when you're looking at living things, plants, animals, and so on, do not only look at differences. Some people always look for differences, but try to look for similarities as well. Okay. When we look at this, it's easy to say, what are the differences? And you say different color and different age and different size and different shape and all these things. But what I recommend that you do is no, don't look at the differences. Look at the similarities. All of them basically have cells that have a nucleus. With those here at least are able to make their own food. No, are not able to make their own food. The moss here is able to make its own food, and so on. So look at nature by categorizing them a little bit, And sometimes you might not even believe that this thing here actually once was an animal, So you see that nature is very diverse, and even though the organisms might appear to be very different on a very basic level, sometimes they're quite similar. So now I'm going to give you an assignment as well. I've got here 2 pictures. It's actually very easy and a very short assignment. And I've got here, that's the assignment here. What kingdom do sponges and corals belong to? So here I have a picture of a sponge. Okay, it's underwater. And here is a picture of a coral. It's known as the brain coral. And the question that I have now is which kingdom do they belong to? Okay, it almost looks like a mushroom. So maybe it's a fungus, or this also looks like a little bit like the fruiting bodies of a mushroom. So maybe they're fungi. Could it be? Kind of strange. Or maybe they're plants. I don't know. Or I mean, what about bacteria or protozoans? What are they? Okay, animals maybe. So my suggestion is the following, is you do a quick research and then figure out which kingdom sponges and corals belong to. And yes, they do belong to one of those 5 categories. So, and I think what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to leave it at that. And I wish you all the best. And yes, see you around next time. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.